Welcome! Today, we're diving into the world of consent orders. If you've ever heard the term but weren't quite sure what it meant, you're in the right place. Consent orders are legal agreements approved by a court, often used to resolve disputes without a lengthy trial. They're common in family law, business disputes, and regulatory matters. In this video, we'll break down what a consent order is, why it's important, and how it works in practice. Let's start by understanding the basics and why so many people and organizations rely on consent orders to settle their issues efficiently. A consent order is a formal agreement between parties that is submitted to a court for approval. Once approved, it becomes legally binding, just like any other court order. The key difference is that both parties have agreed to the terms rather than having a judge impose a decision after a trial. This makes consent orders a popular choice for resolving disputes amicably and efficiently. They can cover a wide range of issues, from financial settlements to parenting arrangements. Let's look at the main features that set consent orders apart from other types of court orders. Consent orders stand out because they are voluntary, meaning both parties agree to the terms before submitting them to the court. This cooperation often leads to quicker resolutions and less animosity. Once the court approves the order, it carries the same legal weight as any other court order. If either party fails to comply, the other can seek enforcement through the legal system. Consent orders are also flexible, allowing parties to tailor solutions to their unique circumstances, rather than relying on a one-size-fits-all judgment from a judge. The process of creating a consent order usually begins when two parties reach an agreement on their own or with the help of mediators or lawyers. They then draft the terms of their agreement and submit it to the court for review. The court examines the proposed order to ensure it's fair and lawful. If everything checks out, the judge will approve the order, making it legally enforceable. This process helps avoid the stress, cost, and time associated with a full trial, while still providing the security of a court-backed agreement. Consent orders are especially common in family law cases, such as divorce or separation. They can cover issues like property division, child custody, and spousal support. By agreeing on these matters outside of court, families can avoid lengthy and emotionally draining litigation. The court's approval ensures that the arrangements are fair and in the best interest of any children involved. This approach often leads to more amicable relationships post-separation and provides a clear, enforceable framework for moving forward. Businesses also use consent orders to resolve disputes, such as contract disagreements or partnership dissolutions. By negotiating terms and submitting them for court approval, companies can avoid the uncertainty and expense of litigation. Consent orders provide a clear, enforceable resolution that both parties have agreed to, which can help preserve business relationships and protect reputations. This method is particularly valuable when ongoing cooperation between the parties is important. Regulatory agencies often use consent orders to settle cases with individuals or organizations accused of violating laws or regulations. Instead of going to trial, the parties agree on corrective actions, penalties, or other terms. The court or regulatory body then approves the order, making it legally binding. This approach allows for swift resolution and ensures compliance, while avoiding the time and expense of a contested hearing. Drafting a consent order involves careful negotiation and clear documentation. Both parties, often with the help of lawyers, outline the terms they've agreed upon. The draft must be detailed and unambiguous to prevent future misunderstandings. Once the draft is ready, it's submitted to the court for review. It's important to ensure that the terms are fair, lawful, and practical, as the court will scrutinize the agreement before approval. Once a consent order is drafted, it must be submitted to the court for approval. The judge reviews the agreement to ensure it's fair, reasonable, and lawful. If the judge finds any issues, they may request changes or clarifications. Only after the court is satisfied will the order become legally binding. This step is crucial, as it protects the interests of both parties and ensures the agreement complies with the law. After a consent order is approved, it carries the full force of law. If either party fails to comply with its terms, the other can seek enforcement through the courts. This might involve penalties, fines, or other legal remedies. The enforceability of consent orders is one of their main advantages, providing peace of mind that the agreement will be upheld. Courts take violations seriously, ensuring that parties stick to their commitments. Sometimes, circumstances change after a consent order is made. If both parties agree, they can apply to the court to modify the order. The court will review the proposed changes to ensure they're fair and reasonable. If only one party wants a change, they must show a significant change in circumstances to convince the court. This flexibility allows consent orders to adapt to life's changes while maintaining legal certainty. It's important to distinguish between a consent order and a court judgment. A court judgment is imposed by a judge after a contested hearing, while a consent order is based on the parties' agreement. Both are legally binding, but consent orders often lead to better compliance and less resentment. since both sides have had a say in the outcome. Understanding this difference can help you choose the best path for resolving disputes. Consent orders offer several advantages. They save time and money by avoiding lengthy trials. They also reduce stress and conflict. Since both parties have agreed to the terms, the process is usually faster and more flexible, allowing for tailored solutions. Most importantly, consent orders provide the security of a court-backed, enforceable agreement. These benefits make them a preferred choice in many legal situations. While consent orders are powerful tools, they do have limitations. Both parties must be willing to negotiate and agree on terms. If there's a significant power imbalance or one party is unwilling, a consent order may not be possible. Additionally, the court will not approve an order that is unfair or unlawful. It's important to seek legal advice to ensure your interests are protected throughout the process. There are some common misconceptions about consent orders. Some people think they're less serious than court judgments, but in reality, they're just as enforceable. Others believe they can't be changed, but as we discussed, modifications are possible with court approval. It's also a myth that consent orders are only for family law. They're used in many areas, including business and regulatory matters. Lawyers play a crucial role in the consent order process. They help negotiate fair terms, draft clear agreements, and ensure the order complies with the law. Legal advice is especially important if there are complex issues or significant assets involved. A good lawyer can help you avoid pitfalls and make sure your rights are protected throughout the process. Mediators can also assist in reaching a consent order, especially in family or business disputes. They act as neutral third parties, helping both sides communicate and find common ground. Mediation can make the process less adversarial and more collaborative, increasing the chances of reaching a mutually acceptable agreement that can be formalized as a consent order. Consent orders can sometimes include confidentiality clauses, especially in business or regulatory cases. These clauses prevent parties from disclosing certain information about the dispute or its resolution. Confidentiality can be important for protecting reputations and sensitive information, but it must be balanced with the need for transparency in some cases. Consent orders aren't limited to one country. They're used in legal systems around the world. While the details may vary, the core concept remains the same. Parties reach an agreement, and the court formalizes it. In cross-border disputes, consent orders can help resolve issues efficiently and provide a clear, enforceable outcome recognized by multiple jurisdictions. Consent orders are often the result of alternative dispute resolution, ADR, methods like mediation or arbitration. ADR allows parties to resolve their issues outside of court, and the resulting agreement can be formalized as a consent order. This approach combines the flexibility of ADR with the enforceability of a court order, offering the best of both worlds. In family law, consent orders are frequently used to formalize parenting arrangements. Parents agree on issues like custody, visitation, and child support, and the court approves the agreement. This provides a clear, stable framework for co-parenting and ensures that both parents understand their rights and responsibilities. The court's involvement also helps protect the best interests of the children. When couples separate, dividing property can be a major challenge. Consent orders allow parties to agree on how assets and debts will be split, and the court formalizes the arrangement. This avoids the uncertainty of a judge's decision and gives both sides more control over the outcome. Once approved, the property settlement is legally binding and enforceable. Spousal support, or alimony, can also be addressed through consent orders. The parties negotiate the amount and duration of support, and the court reviews the agreement to ensure it's fair. This process allows for tailored solutions that reflect the unique circumstances of each case while providing the certainty and enforceability of a court order. Child support arrangements can be formalized through consent orders. Parents agree on the amount and frequency of payments, and the court ensures the arrangement meets legal standards and serves the child's best interests. This provides stability for both parents and children and ensures that support obligations are clear and enforceable. Consent orders can also be used to resolve disputes over debts. Parties agree on how debts will be paid or divided, and the court formalizes the agreement. This can help avoid further conflict and provide a clear plan for repayment, reducing the risk of future disputes or enforcement actions. Employment disputes, such as wrongful termination or wage claims, can sometimes be resolved through consent orders. The employer and employee agree on a settlement, which is then approved by the court. This provides a clear, enforceable resolution and can help both parties move forward without the need for a lengthy trial. In civil litigation, parties can use consent orders to settle lawsuits without going to trial. This might involve payment of damages, changes in behavior, or other agreed actions. The court's approval ensures the settlement is enforceable, providing closure and certainty for both sides. Consent orders can sometimes include injunctions, which are Court orders requiring a party to do or refrain from doing something. For example, parties might agree that one side will stop using certain intellectual property, and the court formalizes this as part of the consent order. This provides a powerful tool for protecting rights and preventing future disputes. In regulatory or business cases, consent orders may include penalties for noncompliance. These penalties are agreed upon by the parties and approved by the court. This ensures that there are real consequences for failing to follow the order, which encourages compliance and accountability. Some consent orders create ongoing obligations, such as regular payments or periodic reporting. The court can monitor compliance and take action if either party fails to meet their responsibilities. This ongoing oversight helps ensure that the agreement is followed over time and provides a mechanism for addressing any issues that arise. One of the main attractions of consent orders is the sense of finality they provide. Once approved, the order settles the dispute and provides a clear path forward. This helps both parties move on with their lives or businesses, knowing that the matter has been resolved and is backed by the authority of the court. Appealing a consent order is rare, since both parties have agreed to the terms. However, if there was fraud, duress, or a fundamental mistake, a party may be able to challenge the order in court. The process is more complex than appealing a regular judgment, and legal advice is essential if you believe a consent order should be set aside. Consent orders generally become part of the public record, meaning they can be accessed by others. However, in some cases, the court may agree to seal the order or keep certain details confidential. This is more common in sensitive cases, such as those involving children or trade secrets. Consent orders typically bind only the parties who agreed to them. However, in some cases, third parties may be affected, especially if the order involves property or business interests. It's important to consider the impact on others and seek legal advice if you think a third party's rights might be affected. Consent orders can have tax consequences, especially in cases involving property settlements or business agreements. It's important to consult with a tax professional or lawyer to understand any potential tax liabilities before finalizing a consent order. Proper planning can help avoid unexpected costs down the road. In some cases, consent orders may require parties to maintain insurance, such as in business or property settlements. This ensures that both sides are protected against future risks. The court can specify the type and amount of insurance required, providing an extra layer of security for everyone involved. Courts may monitor compliance with consent orders, especially in complex or ongoing cases. This can involve regular reporting, audits, or check-ins to ensure both parties are fulfilling their obligations. Compliance monitoring helps maintain trust and accountability and provides a mechanism for addressing problems if they arise. Some consent orders include clauses outlining how future disputes will be resolved. This might involve mediation, arbitration, or returning to court. Including a dispute resolution clause can help prevent future conflicts and provide a clear process for addressing any issues that arise. The parties can agree on how legal costs will be handled in a consent order. Sometimes, each side pays their own costs, or one party may agree to cover certain expenses. The court will review these arrangements to ensure they're fair. Clear agreements on costs can help avoid disputes later on. Consent orders can specify timeframes for compliance, such as deadlines for payments or actions. Clear timeframes help ensure that both parties know what's expected and when. If a party misses a deadline, the other can seek enforcement through the courts, maintaining the integrity of the agreement. Consent orders are built on the principle of good faith. Both parties are expected to act honestly and fulfill their commitments. If one party acts in bad faith, such as hiding assets or refusing to cooperate, the court can intervene. Good faith is essential for the success and enforceability of any consent order. Life can be unpredictable, and sometimes unforeseen circumstances make it difficult to comply with a consent order. If this happens, parties can apply to the court for a modification or temporary relief. The court will consider the situation and decide whether changes are justified, ensuring fairness for both sides. While it's possible to negotiate and draft a consent order without a lawyer, legal advice is strongly recommended. Self-represented parties may miss important details or fail to protect their interests. Courts may scrutinize self-drafted orders more closely to ensure fairness, especially if there's a power imbalance. With advances in technology, many courts now accept consent orders signed electronically. Digital signatures make the process faster and more convenient, especially for parties in different locations. However, it's important to follow court rules and ensure that all signatures are valid and secure. In summary, consent orders are powerful legal tools that allow parties to resolve disputes efficiently and amicably. They combine the flexibility of negotiated agreements with the enforceability of court orders. Whether in family, business, or regulatory matters, consent orders provide clarity, security, and peace of mind. If you're considering a consent order, seek legal advice to ensure your interests are protected and your agreement is fair and effective.